Good day, Tamers. First episode of the Digital Masters podcast is janky at best. I'm just putting this here as like future editing Gita mode. I was looking through it, and Judge James has like this weird, like I'm sitting in my toilet echo going on with his side, and I'm pretty sure it's my recording rather than him personally. So it's something we have to look at when we do the next one, probably for next month. So unfortunately, the first episode is going to be jank, as all the first episode should be, just jank. But hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you come back for next month. And to be fair, I think it's still a fairly good episode. It's just the fact you have the reverberation of James in his toilet throne area. And but no, hopefully you guys enjoy it, and hopefully we'll see you here for episode 2. Mwah. Peace out, Tamers. Good day, Tamers. Welcome to a new podcast by me. This isn't the first. It won't be the second. Probably won't be the last. But today, I bring you a special guest, James, our lovely judge.
Hello, Darius.
Who's also now technically head judge.
Yes, that is very true. I have acquired myself a cheeky little position as head judge for. Well, here's actually a bit of a cheeky insight. I am head judge for Liverpool regionals.
Whoa!
Cheeky little bit of insight. Cheeky little insight for you.
Is that because there's like 1,000 events going on at Liverpool and they just needed extra bodies again, or?
I mean, we say that, but I think I have finally shown myself to be capable. So we'll see. We'll see if it goes horribly wrong or not. That's the thing that's going to make a difference. So.
Yeah, and obviously you don't want to be like caught short, but you did well in Scotland. I didn't hear anyone complain that you pooped the bed.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was a fairly small event, but it hit near cap, so that was nice. And I didn't have anybody try and throttle me, so that's always good.
I mean, it is always good, because if no one's having a go at you, it means you did a good job.
Yeah, sure.
And for those who are wondering who I am, well, you're on my channel, so you should probably know who I am. Gita Swiftly, commentator for Raid and Trade, OP, hopefully again in the future, as I believe they've got other streams going on during the Liverpool event, and possibly finals, but that's background information that may or may not come true.
That's all speculation.
Well, it's not speculation. I've requested it, so if they're feeling streamy, then maybe.
Particularly spicy.
It might be spicy, we'll see. Well, I'm looking forward to going either way. So we're going to go over what today's topics are. We're going to be talking about how BT13 is currently doing. We've already met Judge James, and they can go through like their takes on how it's been for them, because you've judged, is it 4 events this season?
I think it's either 3 or 4, yeah. So around that point, anyway.
Fingering all the pies. We'll talk about Bandai's World Circuit, and we'll talk about how RB01 coming after BT13 makes it a non-performer in the English meta. And then we'll talk about how ST15, 16, and BT14 will change things. Then we'll talk about the health of the game moving forwards. And then if there's anything James would like to add at the end, maybe thank you for having me, or this is a list of problems that I have.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how spicy I'm feeling later.
So let's start off topic 1, BT13, how it's going competitively. I've not played during BT13 as far as I'm aware, so I don't really have much of a say here. I've cast, I think, 3 things during this format, and from what I've seen, it's a very variety-filled format.
Yeah, like I get the whole Marcus needs to be bandwagon. I understand it, but at the same time, it doesn't win everything. There's been numerous like spicy tops from Belfer, Mirage Gao topped in Glasgow this week. That came first. It beat Shanghai in the final, so proves that it's not invincible. I mean, even Hunters are still kicking its weight, and that's 2 sets old now, and hasn't had any support since.
That's BT12. No, I've said before, like BT13 is probably one of the healthier metas we've had. Japan did have a unlimited Bloom Lord and Beazle and full power Greymon, Black Greymon X antibody, so they had a very different format to play with than we did. You know, a harder control deck, a faster purple deck, and whatever Bloom was doing at the time. Because I think Bloom was actually quite competitive. Still.
piercing and punching 4 checks like he normally does.
Yeah, piercing, punching things, and having access to 4 blossoms. So you just went, hee hee hee. I'm level 5. Oh, now level 6. Everything's suspended. But no, from what I've seen from games, Machine Jumon's still doing fairly well. Shine's obviously got a very good base. The vaccine/yellow hybrid variant's doing very well. Mirage is doing fairly well. All Force is doing, or trying to do All Force things.
So we don't talk about All Force. It's the bane of my existence that I want that deck to do so well. Like, I try to make it work, and it just refuses to play ball.
And then we have, like you said, Hunters. Hunters is still a fairly good deck, and it's still putting up numbers. It's still fighting back. It's quite a resilient deck to go against because it's got very good removal options.
Yeah, so it's not anything to removal. It's the fact that it's so regenerative as well.
Yeah, very versatile. So you can't really get rid of them fully. So I think BT30 is probably one of our better metas for a while, especially since we had, I'd say, probably last like 3 or 4 have been very much like you got 2 or 3 decks and that's it. You don't play those, not playing anything.
Yeah, it's been that way for, I think probably since, pushing back even BT9 format. There's always been like the top 2 or top 3 contenders.
I was going to say, I think maybe BT7 was like the start of that, where it's like if you're not playing specifically like these 2 decks, you're not playing the game really, or we're not going to allow you to play the game.
Yeah, which.
So it was essentially 6 months of blue and yellow hybrid, and then it went into BT8.
It was Imperial. Yeah, it was Imperial and second sender, and the sort of the air quotes birth of security control.
It's really funny because I think Imperial only got like 2 tops during the whole format, and I think Masty got like 3.
Yeah.
It was like really weird because in Japan it was like the other way around. It's like, yeah, Imperial's really, really good. It's really quick. And then we went, stun it. Stun everything.
Yeah, just blow it up. That's how you beat those guys. Just blow them up.
Oh. No, there's no problems. You don't look at it. Just go, go, go. And then we had BT9 turn up, and that was essentially another line of issues where it's just X antibody for a long time. So it did sort of stop creativityness with X antibody decks because essentially if you weren't playing X antibody, you weren't playing an engine.
Yeah, like as much as Garuru and Metal Guru has been my baby since that deck came out, and yes, I understand that banning the promo Guru was an absolutely correct choice, as much as it pains me.
Everyone in the comments is like, no, it was the X antibody where Guru won. That was the problem. No, a card that says you can punch twice is always the problem, and unsuspend.
Yeah, I get because like when Bandai tried to kind of go, oh, okay, cool, we'll when they did the Ultimate Company Limited, was it Limited or Ban? I can't remember.
They limited the X Guru to 1. And the reason why is because Japan had only just got the promo access because they banned it due to lack of access in Japan.
Yes.
So for us, it was always available. So we were like, no, like it's a really good deck. If your opponent basically opens like that one good hand, it's like game winning for them. There's nothing you can really do about it unless you have removal, which at the time most decks that weren't security control weren't running removal because you couldn't fit it into your deck. Yep. So then Japan obviously had the re-release set and went like, oh, here's access to these cards you haven't had access to before. Everyone have fun. And then they obviously played it for like one tournament. Like, this thing is disgusting and it's degenerate and we're not going to have access to this anymore. This is not how you play Digimon. It's like, okay. Everyone in the English meta said this for the last 6 months. Well, we've seen this with our own eyes now, and we've learned the errors of our ways now that we've sold all this product to you.
Yeah, I say, as much as I sort of, it's one of the sort of slight banes of my life that sort of everything is controlled by the Japanese format, the way it is.
As much as I do like to having the singular like ban list and stuff, so it makes things easier, so you're not having to go like, oh no, we're playing this here, you can't play that there. We do lose out on like a lot of tournaments where it's like, oh, this is going to be like a fun deck to play into, like this tournament with these other decks, and it's like, oh no, we're going to restrict it because Japan's had 6 months of this deck, they don't like it anymore. You've got 3 weeks of it. Hope you've enjoyed it. Yeah,
it was like Cross 4. Like the deck was alive for what, 2 weeks?
Nope, there was no tournament play for that deck.
It just everyone built it. Went, this is a really cheap, really cool deck. Smack.
The biggest problem for that, and it's probably like the biggest thing that probably made a lot of people leave Bandai very quickly at that point, was, or possibly like looked at One Piece more, and that was the fact that on pre-release weekend, everyone brought all their stock because if you're a player, that's normally what you do. So you brought your box, you do your trades, got everything ready to go. On the Monday, I believe it was, or on the following Friday on release day, they went, actually, we're limiting and banning these cards on this date, which was the day before our first official tournament, which was the EX3 tournament, where Examon won.
Yes.
And everyone was like, oh, wow, I can't believe I just spent like £400 on these boxes to pull all my cards, and now my deck just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And then Mervamon came out and just made a totally different deck that did just devastating things.
Yeah. I'll say so. The deck's still absolutely fine now. Like it's got enough support with its
We've got a new Ballistamon coming out.
Yeah, the one that's not a crossheart. We'll ignore that. Move on.
I love my crossheart monsters that aren't crosshearts. What's this thing do? I don't know. It's not a crossheart.
Do you want to search it? No.
Okay. I can. Do you want to search it? Well, I pulled it from my deck during the search, but I don't think I can put it in my hand. They've got until next Friday to announce an errata for it, so hopefully we get the correct version, not the badly spelled version like we always get.
Yeah, that is the one thing with it. It's like I understand that translating Japanese to English is a absolute nightmare.
It's not like a lot of people think it's like A to B, but it's not. It's more like A to like B.2.
Yeah,
there is things that do just disappear in translation. There's no like correct way to translate it. It works with a lot of languages. I work with a lot of like Polish, Lithuanian, Russian people, and they'll like try and explain things to you properly, but they'll like miss like a key word out of a sentence because there's no translation for it. So they'll speak their language and then say the word that you need to know in English, and then just like carry on. It's like, why can't you do that? It's like because there's just no translation for that word.
Yeah. Don't you love how us as a human species works? We can't have one linear platform. No, we must have 40.
I always love the joke that when you see like a sci-fi, it's always like English is the main language of the world in the future. It's like, probably like Chinese or something like that, because there's a lot more Chinese people than English people.
Yeah. So because I think English is like the third most spoken language?
Fourth.
Was it fourth now, is it?
Yeah, I think first is Mandarin, second is like Urdu, which is one of the English language. One of the Indian languages. Then I think the third is like a style of Portuguese, because I think with Brazilian and Portugal put together, it makes like the next like highest amount of population.
Yeah, it's some form of Spanish. Yeah,
and obviously Spanish is like very well spoken because Mexico and Spain and like the few other countries that were visited by Spain. We'll put that as political as possible
on their world tour.
On their world tour of just like Bandai's world tour, where they only went to all the hot countries.
Yeah. World Circuit is
not a world circuit.
I mean, it is across the world. I'll grant them that.
I mean, it does like a very weird circle shape. I wouldn't say it was across the world.
Yeah, come to Europe, guys. Like,
yeah, you're in a world circuit. If you don't live in an Asian country or Los Angeles, you're not part of the world. But no, I think BT13 has been like a really good place for us, and I do think that they need to sort of look at decks. To be fair, we've got the new director in, and I think since he's been in, which was I think technically he came in for EX4 but wasn't here for BT13.
Something like that.
Because he came in and did like the first side set, and then he took over from BT14. And I feel like he's done a very good job of making power-ups, but not power creep.
Yeah, like because like I've noticed with a lot of the upcoming sets, it is a lot of bolstering older, well, not necessarily older archetypes, but
styles.
It's more so than going, here's a brand new flashy thing. I mean, we'll ignore Lugamon, but
it's like something in, right?
Yeah. Like they've kind of gone, okay, cool. Here's X, Y, and Z, and we'll just give this support and we'll bolster this and make it good, which I like.
Because normally when they do sets are normally made. It's very weird because I try to explain to other people, and people get like really like grumpy about it. Depending on how much thought you want to put into your process, depends how like ahead of time you put things in. So, for instance, Magic is like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Like some of the sets that we're getting now were made like in 2018.
Yeah.
Magic is ridiculous. It's just like how much like time they develop or how much time they've like originally started these sets. I think for most of the card games, it's like 18 months.
Something like that, yeah.
So it's like something like 4. It's something like it's between like 3 and 6 sets normally is how they do things. So they go like, okay, by this set, we want this to happen. We want something to come out.
Yeah.
Obviously, they know things like Seekers is going to be a thing and Ghost Game is going to be a thing. So they go, when can we physically shoehorn these into the card game? Obviously, Ghost Game was very weird because it was kind of like at the end of Ghost Game. I don't think they had a better place to put it in. Or they weren't too sure how the card game was going to go, because I'm pretty sure at the end of BT7 is when the original director left, because he wasn't very happy with like all the power creep.
Mm.
And then we had somebody else from BT7 to BT13, and then the end of BT 8 to 13, so we had someone for like essentially a year and a half. And then we've got the new guy coming who's done EX4, BT14, EX5, and doing BT15, which I think has been fairly good at like how we should like shape things around the meta. I do think EX4 was like the first time going like, these are just decks you want to play with, and they're just good for what they are.
Yeah, they're just here's a deck in your box and go.
Have fun.
Right.
And then BT13 was just, I think, the last set the other guy did, which is a fairly good set. I want to say I think they looked at it and went like, I'm going to go out on a bang, and this is a banger.
Yeah, absolutely. There's because I say there is the sort of inbuilt decks, like you've got your knights that are sort of inherently just part of the box for the most part. You can splash.
It's named after them, makes sense, right?
But like they've made certain cards, like the Geogreymon, like they've made it obviously designed for Shine Grey, but they've also left it a little bit open ended. So a lot of the decks
it's very good generic support for both yellow and red, which is needed sometimes because there are certain cards that are specifically archetypal, but when it's essentially like, hey, look, I can be played in a third of your colours now and be still very efficient, is always really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, it sees a lot of play in the vaccine deck, which we're going to be getting in BT14.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that very, very highly.
Out yourself as quick as you can. I like security control / vaccine.
I like security control. It did well for me at events. People can hate on me for it, but it does well.
This is why you can't trust judges, people. This is why judges can't be your friends. The first thing out of their mouth. Oh, I like security control. Get out.
It's an interactive deck, right?
Not for your opponent. Your thing dead now. How's it interactive? Well, I'm having fun.
Well, I enjoyed myself.
I had fun. Did you have fun? No, I had a board and it just fell over somewhere.
Just stick it on security. They can't get there. It's fine. I'm doing vaccine players a favour next set because I'm putting the stuff in security for them. Do them a favour.
That's only if it's a mirror match.
I mean, that's fine because there'll be plenty of them, I guess.
Man. So I think that's where we are in terms of BT13. As a judge who's seen, obviously, the Ultimate Cup variants and the standard regional variants, how have you found this, I suppose, last 2 months?
Regionals, spot on. Like I say, the meta's diverse. The game is sort of simple enough to keep an eye on from everybody's perspective, but also complex enough that you can have your spicy little combo plays. And if you know what you're doing really well, you can do really well with pretty much any deck you take to a format event. Ultimate Cups, I'm undecided on. I like the initial premise. I like the whole, okay, cool, we're doing mono cup format stuff, which at the time, when they first did it, was sick. I loved it. I was like, cool, it adds a limitation to the game, but doesn't limit you too far.
Yeah, when they first announced it, I agree. I was like, it's interesting to try something new, because they made it sound like it was going to be like every season change, which for us is like every 3 months or so.
Yeah.
We'll do something different, which is, okay, I'll try this monocolor thing, and then maybe next time we try like everyone starts with a tamer on the field kind of thing, like Commander or something like that. And then we'll try XYZ just to see how it fits. But they just decided nah, this is good enough, but we're just going to keep making restricted lists for it.
Yeah, let's say
which then turns into the ban list.
Yeah, because I know they sort of use it as almost as like a testing ground, I suppose.
It does feel that way, which I don't think a format should ever be when it comes to a card game, because we shouldn't be your beta testers.
Yeah, that's true. I sort of, it's such an awkward one because I like the idea of it. I just would hope they would change it up slightly from going forward. Whether they will or not is obviously entirely up to them. It's Bandai.
So I hope next year they do go we did this for a year. We got a lot of obviously feedback from it saying not everyone was happy with it, so we'll try something different this year. Especially when it's tied to your better participation prizes and your better outward prizing.
Yes, the I think that's why it still sees as much traction as it does, just because the pricing for it, in comparison to a lot of other Stars events that they host, is without a doubt the best. Like the artwork on, like even the most recent ones on the Gallant line stuff, it just looks really nice.
Yeah, they've got good artists. They've done a really nice job. Personally, I do like the Sagai art, which is like the thick line art. So for me,
Yes.
like a lot of the art there is pretty much like what I want. So obviously, it's something to aim for. Maybe I'll get there one day. Not for geek casting though, but you know, casting skills. Yeah, I do think they've done like a very nice job of the artwork for the last two Ultimate Cups.
Absolutely, yeah.
Obviously, we had Evo Cup the first year. We got the very pretty Kuramon and the Geo Greymon, not Geo Greymon, the original Greymon. Again, but very nice art, very stylistic. As it was obviously only done for a short period of time, they are quite sought after.
Yes, they are.
Just by collectors themselves.
Certainly one of the more expensive cards in the game.
It is. But it's just so strange that this year they went like, you know what, we're actually going to give Europe tournaments. And it's like, oh, great. And now it feels like a bit overwhelming. It's like, oh, all this price support. It feels so strange.
Yeah, I say it. I hope that we can see more in-person events. I will admit. The few that I have done this year, that are obviously UK-based at least, there is something that bit different about playing in person. Like 99.9% of the player base is absolutely delightful. I don't think I can say bad about any player really. I say it's nice to have that sort of almost community spirit, I suppose, in a regard. When you've got sort of a big in-person meet and greet. Obviously, I understand COVID and all that lot sort of shut it down at the first start point, but obviously the world's fixed in inverted brackets. It's the WHO thing. So anyway,
we're getting back to the normal, as I would say.
Yeah, so hopefully in sort of next year and maybe following years we'll see more in person stuff, which would be nice.
I do think this year was the first year where it felt like in person was like priority, or at least more of a priority. Because this year, I think we've had in the UK at least, I want to say like 6 major events this year. We're going to have by the end of the year. So we had OPE Wolverhampton, we had OPE Birmingham for 2 events.
Yep.
I think there was an event recently-ish. Obviously, Scotland was their own thing that wasn't Bandai supported, but obviously was still allowed. Yeah, that was private, yeah. And then we get in Liverpool. But then there was France had a couple of events, Italy's had a few events, Spain's had a couple of events. I think Germany had an event earlier in the year, or it's about to have its event.
I think it's just had it. I think
it might be this weekend or it was last weekend, because it was the weekend I think either after our last Ultimate Cup or it was this weekend. So people doing it today tomorrow. And then we've got ENTCG, which is the new TCG group on the scene, which I don't know how that's going to go. I feel like a lot of people have complained about ENTCG.
Oh, interesting. I've not heard anything about it personally. I know, cough, cough, I'm also on the staff team for that one as well, cough, cough.
So I've tried to talk to the team at ENTCG, and like they're just dead to communication.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've tried to message them on like Twitter. I've tried to message them on their Discord group. I've tried to message them through their business address, their business emails. But like, yeah, they're just not responsive. But every time I look at ENTCG, it's always talking about, I think it's Shadowverse.
Yeah, I think they do more niche card games. I think for the most part, from the very limited amount I've seen anyway.
Yeah, I think they do 6 before this one. I think it was Weiss, Shadowverse, Card Vanguard. One Piece, because I think you need to sort of start jumping into more Bandai stuff, because obviously that's the thing to do if you want to work with Bandai. Dragon Ball now picked up Digimon, and I think they had another one that I can't seem to remember. Flesh and Blood.
Ah, right, yes.
So that's them. Obviously, come in, do your best. Obviously, it's for the community rather than for like yourselves. That sounds really weird, but you can't really work in this town kind of thing if you don't work with the community first.
Well, exactly. Well, it's like as I said to a couple people recently. It's it's sort of almost amusing, especially because I do a lot of the raid and trade online events.
As a judge.
That as a judge, I played in the Ultimate Cup. What was it, last week before?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and the amount of people that were just like, "Oh, hi, Judge. Wait, you're playing this game
Yeah,
now?"
we
I
do,
was
yeah.
like, I was like, "No, I do actually play this game. It's I did used to play before I became a judge. Like, it's not. I didn't just jump into judge and go, yeah, right. I'm not playing this game. That's fine. Let's judge. It's fine."
I'll be your opponent today. It's like, wait, you're the judge. And? Other judge? I am the judge. Oh no. It's the old, I need an adult. I am an adult. Oh no.
I mean, I didn't do that well. I threw really hard in that offense. So don't worry.
Your business partner, I think, jinxed you a little bit.
My business partner always jinxes mates. Nothing.
Yeah. So
Nothing surprises me.
technically, we're a trio. So it's Judge James, JJ, and me are normally like the three people that talk to you. With the English people. And JJ likes to talk sort of in between rounds. And all of a sudden, on the stream, JJ's like, I'm 2-1. But James is 3-0. Okay, that's really good. He's doing really well so far. And then I think I didn't really see much of him. I didn't get to see you during the games. But I think I asked him like round 6. I was like, how's it going? He was like, I'm going upwards. I'm like 4-2 or something at the time. And then he was like, James is 3-3.
Yeah, you know, ironically, the fact that you've mentioned that to me, I didn't know he'd done that actually. Yeah, I went 3-0 and then finished the event 3-4.
Like, what happened? I
So,
fell downwards.
I a mixture of my brain got to the point where because I have this issue with when I play card games is I'll think of my turn before I do my turn.
I think that's a lot of people who play card games is they try and play like chess, which is a fairly good way of playing card games until you get to a point where you're playing against someone else who's also good at card games, and then they're thinking the extra step ahead, and you're still thinking the turn before.
Yeah, because I noticed, especially it was with one game. I can't remember. I think I was playing against Commander on Rush. I think it was in like round 6, something like that.
Okay.
And
for that. Should be next set though. Will be
yeah, I was like, I mean, he's just prepping for next set, so I mean, I appreciate it.
Don't mind, Judge. I've got my proxies in here. Don't you worry. So wait a minute.
I mean, at that point, I was on like table 48. I had to let it go.
You just gone to the bottom. I was like, I was table 2 like last round, and now I'm table 36. What's going on?
Yeah, we don't talk about it. It's fine.
How the greats fall, right? Bloomlord didn't do what it could do.
Bloomlord,
right?
Yeah, it's Bloomlord. Yeah, Bloomlord with some spicy Bancho Liam on text because I couldn't think of anything else better to put in the deck at the time.
It's a very weird deck because it is technically built itself, but when you get to BT14, you can just go, no, everything is rose now. It's fine.
Yeah, well, I was like, I know a lot of people were like, oh, you play the rose build, and I was like, you can play the rose build. I just don't personally like it. It was the amount of people that because I used the Lanamon in that deck. I used that as a 2 of just because it's a searcher, so you know why not?
Why not?
And the amount of people that were like, "Oh no, you haven't seen Tamer," I was like, "I'm never going to see that Tamer. It's not in the deck list."
You'll never see her either. She's gone for good. So I think we should talk about the World Circuit, as I've called it.
The World Circuit.
So for those of you who are not aware, although you probably should be if you're a fan of Digimon and your eyes bleeding if you're in Europe, Bandai has renamed, Cardass, which is Bandai's card game division, has renamed itself to Bandai Card Games because literality, I suppose. But this includes all their card games, which is Union Arena, which if you haven't heard of, is the anime card game that probably will not be coming to the West because it's doing very poorly in Japan currently. We have Battle Spirit Saga, which is the, I believe, English name for Battle Spirits. Slightly different card game, but basically the same card game. One Piece, I'm sure you've heard of One Piece. It's that pirate anime. Netflix just did a series on it. Dragon Ball Super, the card game, which is getting a reboot in February, I believe, which is the online client. And then Digimon, the card game that we're talking about. So
the better card game, right?
It's the one that's basically they use as a beta tester to then put into One Piece. What I've seen.
I can't even denounce that. Yeah, they just. I think One Piece. They've just kind of gone, okay, cool, we'll homologate,
Yeah, we like
and
your ideas. Let's take them.
all the good bits from all the other card games, we'll homologate, stick it in One Piece, and then One Piece will be sick.
If it's making money and they know it's making money, but it keeps everything else afloat, yeah, carry on then.
Yeah.
If I keep getting Digimon, I'll be happy. So we have, starting off the tour, Hong Kong SAR in November 11th, 2023. Unfortunately, there's nothing else we can add to these, like what venues they are, or what pricing is going to be, or what's really going to happen there, because everything is still coming soon. But I think we've known about this now for about 2 or 3 weeks. So it's kind of interesting that they haven't really announced more yet, especially with November not being that far away at the moment. It's the end of September now. You've only got like 7 weeks to go.
Smart, yeah.
I mean, we're very lucky over here in Europe, even though we're not part of the World Tour, we at least know where we're going for our tournament.
Yeah, I'm sort of. I'm just waiting for. I'm waiting for my finals tickets to open up so I can get on it.
Yeah, as soon as the tickets open and buy a ticket, then I'll buy my place. Because no point going like, oh, I'll get a hotel room and be like, oh, I can get a ticket.
Yeah,
oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jakarta is in November 26th. Again, coming soon. Probably if we do this next month, we'll probably go like, oh yeah, they're opened it up now. We're getting all these cool cards. I'm hoping. I think a lot of people do complain about this, but I do hope that the pricing at Worlds or Finals is a little bit better than it was last year, or technically this year. Because I feel like everyone walked home with like a playset of like the cards, and no one was happy because they weren't good cards.
Yeah, there was some playable cards, absolutely.
The event pack was good. Like I think a lot of people
Event pack
enjoyed
was
the event
nice.
pack. It was event pack 3. It was a lot of the hybrids and Diablo stuff. So I think a lot of people were happy with that.
Yeah.
But the actual like regional pricing itself was kind of meh.
Yeah, I don't think
you only need one savior, and it was already in the event pack.
Yeah, they saw because they had the savior in the event pack, and they also had then the stamped copy as your participation. So it sort of mitigated itself before it even started, really, unfortunately.
So that was a very weird tournament, and a lot of people did walk away with multiples of those just for playing through the day.
Yeah.
The Matt, on the other hand, is like probably still my favourite Matt.
Oh yeah, no, I made sure to grab a second copy of that Matt because I did a bunch of side events on day 2 of Bremen. So I made sure to get a second play Matt because I want to keep one for playing with because I can show off that I've been to Euro finals and keep one for a rainy day. That's so
I feel like that's my plan for this year as well. Like try and get a second Matt so I can just go like, this is for keeping forever, and this is for the catch destroy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then we've got Bangkok now. That is happening during the same weekend that European finals is happening.
It is.
So it's probably a good idea that they go into Bangkok rather than all the way over to Amsterdam for a bit of fun, and then back to Bangkok again for other kinds of fun. Singapore, December 16th to 17th, so they're going to have a week off in between. Give themselves a rest after that long weekend in Bangkok. Shanghai the weekend after that. This now technically falls on Christmas weekend, so it's going to December 23rd and 24th. And then, it's a little break. Kuala Lumpur in January, 13th to 14th. So these are still being played in the same sort of meta format that we're playing in. So this will be generally BT 14/BT 13. So as far as I'm aware, what am I about? No, they're all ahead of us. What am I about? No,
so they're all ahead of you. Yeah.
No, they're all in BT 15. I'm about. So it'll be BT 15. I don't think there's going to be an EX set out before Christmas. Not sure if EX6 comes out before Christmas this year or if it comes out in January.
I would have expected they would have started to announce it by now if they were going to.
We do
maybe
Terriermon deck should be out.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe the new advanced deck Terriermon.
So if the new advanced deck Terriermon's good, then you could see a lot of Terriermon doing something for a change, or if not, just Rapidmon go crazy.
Yeah.
So it could be a case that we do see a lot of like Terriermon and Animal deck going crazy during this time period. I'd say then probably by Shanghai, depending if they allow it to be legal, because normally the Fridays, normally before Christmas, is when EX6 comes out, or the EX that will come out for Japan. So presumably Shanghai won't be EX6 available, but probably Terrier BT15, and then Kuala Lumpur will probably be the first set that has EX6 available if we have EX6 this early, which I think we should do.
Yeah.
And then Los Angeles will be the BT. See, Los Angeles is weird because I'm pretty sure EX 5 comes out around about the time that Los Angeles is legal. And I'm pretty sure they announced it during the judges' channel that it was legal for the event if it was available.
Yes, as long as there's no delays to it. They said it should be legal because it's
Which would
not
be
legal.
The most purple format you'll ever see.
Yeah,
because it's got a lot of good text that are purple. That says.
Yeah, purple Melga, Luger will be present.
There's 4 good decks, and technically, if you can make it work, 5. So you've got Anubis, Merva.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You've got Levia, which is still very good.
I didn't think about Levia one. Yeah, you're right.
Purple Melga.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, I do say technically, 3 Musketeers.
Yes, they do get some more
because it uses the Melga engine to just dump everything.
Yeah, it just basically goes, well, turn Melga into Beelstar, go.
And it works. Because everything just goes, drop your hand, okay. And Japan still sees some play of this, but not necessarily. I think we've essentially dropped it because I don't think we can really play it efficiently enough. That's Bialzy.
Mm.
Now, we've obviously seen some good Belthamon stuff during the last Ultimate Cup. But I don't know if that's just because it's Ultimate Cup and it just has a very easy time, or if it's because people just haven't tried it enough in regional formats yet.
I don't know, because I think the one problem Belfa has is it's a one-trick pony. It just goes, I make myself safe for a turn, next turn I'm going to bonk your entire board.
I have one Sleepy Boy. What do you have?
Yeah. I have one Sleepy Boy that you can't touch. Well, you can if you know how to play around it with the right cards. And then I'm just going to blow up all your level 5s, maybe kill level 6 if you've got the Tamer in play, and then just smack security next turn. But, if it doesn't see both of its megas in the right place, the deck falls apart.
Yeah.
Because it's going to go, okay, cool, I've drawn and pitched some cards. Now what?
Alright, your turn, Tamer. Can't do anything else. But I think the interesting thing for next year, for Worlds, is it's BT15 format.
Yeah, it will be, because it'll be most likely February, March, kind of depending on when they drop it. Yeah.
If there's no delays, we get BT15 in February.
Yes.
Which means if you're the top 4 players in the country, well, in Europe, you have 2 weeks to get all your cards together before you fly out to Japan.
Yep.
And you have to hope to God that they come in time. Because the unfortunate thing is, if you can't get access to those cards because there's a delay, you still have to play in that format.
Yep.
But apparently...
at that point, then I imagine they're probably trying to pick up Japanese copies, I'd assume.
That's what they've said before, which is the nice thing, is that if you do struggle to get product before you fly out, you can use Japanese as proxies for your own product.
Yeah.
Which I think if you probably go to a local card store and hope to God they've got something in, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
That's the world tour circuit. We're going around Asia, and then we're going to go to Los Angeles for a little bit, and then we're going to go back out to Asia. The world tour. And then the biggest stinky poo-poo in the whole system, and I say this not kind of literally, I mean it's more kind of it's a very weird case in point that they brought this back in. Resurgent Booster. It does nothing. But the biggest issue for us was the original set for Japan came out between EX4 and BT13.
Yeah.
So I don't think it really changed anything between those 2 sets because it didn't really add anything to make the decks from there better. Obviously, we got access to a few more cards in BT13. But either way, RB doesn't really bring anything meta-relevant currently, anyway.
No.
Bring shiny old cards, sorry.
Yeah, I understand why it's been, it's the thing that I would have put it, I appreciate the fact that they did change their mind after the amount of backlash they got for the original sort of...
To be fair, they changed very quickly.
It did change very quickly.
Because it was basically announced like on the Friday, this is what we're going to do. We're giving you the smaller set. You guys don't really need reprints. And to a point, I agree with that. You don't really need reprints for a lot of these cards because, we have them in quite easy accessibility.
Yeah, I think some of them absolutely are good reprints. Like especially the 1.0, 1.5 cards. Just because those, I mean, they've been out of print now for the better part of 2 years, 2.5
Just
years.
over 2 years, yeah.
Like getting a hold of those cards at a reasonable price point for some of the cards is ridiculous. Like I'd expect, most, like you look at 95% of commons in this game and they're 5-10 pence commons.
Yeah.
Like, but if you want to grab like Demi-Meramon, they're like £7 for a common.
To be fair, they are a rare.
No, Demi-Meramon is an uncommon.
Is it?
Yeah, it's an uncommon.
Well, they just have alt art, though.
They have dropped alt arts, but the alt arts have been very limited supply.
Yes,
like they did
one
for
UK.
Yeah, they did one for the Digifest, which was for I think the UK got 1 or maybe 2 events for Digifest.
2 events. You got one in Cardiff, I think, and then one that was held by what's the names? Limitless.
I think we had Living Realms hold 1. That's
we had 3.
I attended that one.
We had Living Realms, we had Brotherhood, and I think they had Firestorm in Cardiff.
Yeah, sounds about right. Actually,
and those were our 3 events.
So like, obviously there was a bit of a reset there, which was nice, and then they dropped it again in like Tournament Pack 8, I think it was
TP something, and it was one of the 4 cards, which is nice.
Yeah, but like
that Lady Devimon, that wasn't foil.
Yeah, I'm glad they've finally stuck to this is now foil. The winners packs are all foil. That is how it is, because it seems so not counterproductive, but like it seems so sort of
blasé.
Yeah, like underwhelming almost.
Like, here you go. Here's your participation prize. It's foil. It looks nice. It's got texture foil too. Here's your winners pack. We pooed on it.
Yeah, here's your winners pack that is non-foil compared to everyone else who's got foil.
Looks terrible, and we don't know why you wanted this or why you actually spent all this money trying to get this. I don't know either. Thank you, Bandai.
But yeah, so I understand. Like I say, I understand some of the reprints. Some of the more recent stuff, like the BT5 onward reprints, the majority of them probably aren't needed.
BT5 is such a weird set because everything from that set is essentially pennies.
Yeah, like I mean, even the secret rares
set are just so cheap.
Yeah, like you can pick up any of the alt art omnis that are still used fairly reliably in a lot of decks now for like what, £7-8, maybe, if that.
Last time I checked, it was even cheaper than that. So,
Jesus.
I mean, they could have gone back up in price. Obviously, it's not reprinted till this set, but up until I think I was looking maybe like 3 months ago, because I thought, I'll check on the prices, and they were like, I feel like most of the alt arts were like £3.50 to £4. Yeah, and that's a very meta staple card.
Yeah, as I say, it gets used a lot. Basically, if you need a win con, here it is. Because it just finishes your game for you. It's like hybrid for game, but you can do it from anything as long as you've got a mega on the board.
As long as you're at 0, you've got a mega, and you can unsuspend because you weren't stunned. You can win. We
don't talk about blue flare in here.
We don't talk about getting beaten down.
But yeah, beyond that, like the actual new cards are good. Like I say, they're a nice sort of flavor pick for people who want to play stuff from Ghost Game or play Gammon Tribal, which is nice. I'm really looking forward to it just because I want to butcher it and put it into Mother D Reaper because it's going to be really funny.
So I think a lot of people are going to grab the Gammon stuff and put it into Dorbic.
Yeah, it goes in Dorbic.
Because it fits, it's the type it wants. It does a lot of things. It says, hey, look, make me better. And Dorbic goes, I love making myself better. Yep.
Because all of it fits the profile. So it just goes, yeah, okay, we'll make big stack of Dorbic for 3. And then it's got all my on plays and all my buffs of Gammon stuff. So we'll go absolutely wee with it. But beyond that, I say once that's over and done with, it's yeah, it's a bit quiet after that, I say, because there's not a lot of sort of not so long term value, but
No. I mean, if you look at the prices of these cards as well, like they are very overpriced. And I know it's pre-release still for another week.
yeah,
I think it's because they've realised that they have to try and make money out of this set because it's more expensive, but it's not necessarily better.
yeah. I do also like the fact they've made everything foil. So for the
Yes,
rarity
that's why
boys,
everything was like an extra 50p per pack. And like, I
yeah,
kind of understand when you go like, look, we're making these nice things, and there are some costs, not necessarily like equal costs, but obviously, we have to charge you something for them.
yeah. Like I say, like obviously it costs them the extra 0.1 pence per card to get it foiled.
And you're paying for it.
Yeah, but like I say, I understand it because say if because it's going to do one of two things. It'll either just push down the price of the non-foil ones for people who just want the cards, which is good, or it will sort of bring both down a little bit, which is fine. Either way, it's bringing the cost down overall for cards that shouldn't be expensive.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people who have like pushed down on some of the older cards and gone like, you know what, I want the newer style of foiling because it's the texture foil, I believe.
There is, I think, the core of it is a cold foil, but there is texture foils on the supers and above, I think.
Yes. So it's like if you look at the Demi-Meris, for instance, like the old original Demi-Meris, which wasn't uncommon, is like £2.50 at the
Yeah.
cheapest. The official tournament pack, which is the nice happy alt art, is about £6.50. The Digifest alt art, which is the first foil, is around £3. And then for the newest one, from the Resurgent Boost, you're looking at £6 each. But this is pre-release. I was
Yeah.
checking through the prices the other day just to see like what people are thinking like prices are valued at. And you can obviously see people have put some of the old cards used to be really expensive in here, like the old prices. And then you look at like what the cards that the old cards actually priced now, and it's like, wow, Lucimon's like a £6 card now, but the card from this set's like £27 because they have to try and make some money out of the set.
Yeah, it's always the thing with pre-sale prices is they're always all over the place because people are going to obviously try and make the air quotes the quick buck on the set.
I think the issue with this set is though you can't do that with this set.
Yeah, you can't. Like I say, if because obviously if it was a set that I mean, obviously the new cars, obviously they're new. But like the stuff that they're reprinting, obviously, if people need it desperately, they can just go and buy the other ones.
For instance, a very good staple card, Magna Angemon, for instance, the original 1.0 release is like £7 now.
Yeah, which is really good because it shouldn't have been the price it was. Like
just
the alt art one,
and obviously supply and demand. A lot of people wanted to play security control because it was.
Yeah, no, I say especially having this. It's nice to have been brought back just before the vaccine
14,
deck.
yeah.
Because the vaccine deck will make use of it, I imagine. I don't know how many it will use, because obviously the new Magna Ace is, in inverted brackets, better.
It is. It's easy to get into, it's cheaper, it's easy to play because it's a less cost as well.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
This does still see play in like Masty as well, because obviously it's a 6,000.
Yeah, it fits the profile, yeah. Because I think the new Ace is a 8K, I think.
8K, yeah.
So
8K
like
and 6 costs on that.
It's a 4 cost because they're all 4s.
See, look at that. Modern problems require modern solutions. We're gonna make everything cheaper.
Yep. So like it becomes unusable by certain cards. Like you can't flame health out of your bin, like things like that. Like so, there's obviously the toss up argument for both versions in different prospects, but I suppose whatever you play is whatever fits your deck is what you need, really. I suppose, but it means that you've got access to either, or at least at a reasonable price point, which is good.
Yeah, and that's what I think. Like a lot of things currently going online. If you've been looking around, obviously there's been lots of complaints about Yu-Gi-Oh, for instance, being a very expensive card game to get into, but stores themselves aren't making any money from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes,
whereas like Digimon's always been the cheap card game. I'm surprised that stores still sell product.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a bizarre one. Like, it feels like I don't know. I think it's more because Yu-Gi-Oh I mean, this is going back from many years for me because I used to play it, but
Back in my
like
day.
back in
Prejudge
my
James.
day, prejudge me. This is when I was prejudged. Prejudging, well, I'm prejudged for Yu-Gi-Oh. Not that I judge Yu-Gi-Oh anymore. Like it rather than a deck requiring a playset of X card, it would like every deck needs a playset of X cards, so the price just goes through the ceiling.
And they used to do the fun thing, which was like, Japan has this in rare. That's really cool. The English has it in secret rare.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
What am I averaging going to pull these from a case? 3.8? Okay. Did you short print it? You did? I'm going to pull 0.5 per case. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Thank you, Bandai. Sorry, thank you, Konami.
That's
Japanese
Konami.
company.
Don't badmouth Bandai. It's not their fault.
No, you're right. They didn't do this one wrong. They did the other things wrong. But yeah, I think that I like the idea of having a reprint set, and I do think it was somewhat needed. I think the set could have been shrunk down though, so I do feel like they put like a lot of guff still that didn't really need to see reprints. Like the Omnimons, I guess you could maybe argue for it, but again, they had so many alt arts where the alt arts are super cheap, where it's not essentially something they need. Maybe it was in Japan they needed it because it was just hard to find.
Maybe.
It's like, for instance, you've got the cheapest one currently for sale.
Do I?
Of the basic one, which is at £4 essentially.
Let's go.
But then if I look at the alt arts, let's say, and then besides the alt art from BT12, the rest of them are pennies. You know, looking at like a £5, £6, £7.
Yeah, it's like there's water feet as well. Like because the Reaper is water feet. The water feet has not been. It gets seen in like fringe purple decks.
Yeah, it has places to be in purple decks and black decks to a degree. It's just that they either have a better option or it can't really be used efficiently enough to be like guaranteed 2 slots in a deck.
Yeah,
that's why you see a lot of purple black decks don't have a level 7 because there's not a good level 7 for them.
Yeah, well, a lot of time it's just they don't have space.
That's
like there's so many decks, especially in those colours where sure purple is your toolbox colour, if you will. But at that point,
it feels like here's a load of jank cards we have. If we just shove them in every purple deck, it'll work, right?
Yeah.
Look at you calling from darkness.
Calling from darkness is not a problem card. You can't.
No, it's not a problem. It's just a very good card.
Yeah. But like at the point where you're playing your purple decks, they're either the toolbox is that it needs to be that sufficient to keep it going that you can't fit a level 7 in, or you're running a deck like Belphamon where you've got a fixed 20 card core, and then the rest of it has to be just like your Item Scatter modes that you just have to play to be able to make the deck function properly. Yeah, it's just like good value purple. So you just run out of room to be able to play any top end stuff.
Yeah, because you see a lot of people like looking at how to build like decks for the future, and you go like, oh, I need to have these like 6 cards in there. This is all the engine I need for this deck. Or I need to have these 4 cards in there because this will make the deck run more efficiently. I need these like 6 cards in there because it's a name card that has to be searchable. And like, you look at a deck, it's like, okay, you have like 6 spaces to put cards in. Like, what are you going to add that's new? You're like, I need more space.
Yep.
It's like, I think 60 is a good number for a deck to have, but sometimes I feel like 50 is just not enough leeway sometimes as well.
Yeah, like
I think if it was any bigger, I think it's run into a lot of issues where some of the better decks would go like, well, I only need 46 spaces, so I now have
loads of filler space.
14 cards spare that I can just basically put in as like counter cards.
Yeah, like it's such a tussle kind of with what you want to have in there, because a lot of decks, like say, especially in purple, like where you need to have your dedicated core, so you can't have, or you have to choose like your sort of counter pick cards. Like you've got to make this choice between whether you want to play Psychomon or Gazimon, for example.
That's the weird thing. Purple's that weird color where majority of the time your rookies don't normally matter, so you can get away playing both still.
Yeah,
and as well as Ignite Mon.
Yeah, Ignite one's very good.
We can play some Void Effects. Yeah, I'll put an Ignite in my deck. Don't worry about it. I'll take those free memories every turn.
But yeah, so it's just a case of, it's like, because when they tried the sideboard format back in Digifest.
I feel like yes, they did it for like one format, or maybe it might have even just been the one event.
I think it was just the Digifest events. I think.
Yeah, and it was like Marmite. You either loved it or you hated it.
Yeah,
But I think the issue for us was it was the worst format to try it in, because you had decks that already went like, I have my perfect core. These, like, was it 12 cards? 8 cards?
It was 10. It was 10 cards.
10 cards, and you go like, okay, I can just go like, what's my matchup going to be? All right, swap out my bad matchup to my good matchup, and then I can just don't lose. Look at you, blue hybrid and yellow hybrid.
Yeah, but it was like before they announced it. Before I think I took yellow hybrid to that event. I was looking at other decks that are like more fringe, like I before in like the BT5 and BT6 format. I was playing All Force Hexablau,
which was a good deck that didn't synergize too well. But
yeah,
it synergized like amazingly.
But like, I looked at like toolboxing for those decks and things like that, and you could completely change the deck with 10 cards.
Mm-hmm.
You could turn it from a control style deck to a full power
aggro deck, yeah,
aggro,
like,
yeah.
And that's what people didn't like think of. A lot of people went like, "Oh, you know, like I'm going to take cards for countering. You know, I'm going to take my X rookie that either memory stopping, or you can't play cards by effects where you can't reduce costs, or." And that's why a lot of people use that as like essentially, oh, I'm going to use this like a sideboard like I would for like Yu-Gi-Oh, where like this is all my counter stuff. Whereas like other people are like, nah, more security attack +1.
Yeah, because I think I could turn the decks just completely on the head with those 10 cards, which is insane.
I do still think we should have like maybe a 4-card side deck, so you have like one playset you can swap in and out. Because sometimes you will have that, like, for instance, level 5 that doesn't do anything in a certain matchup.
Yeah, it's
very awkward.
Yeah, like it takes away from the sort of, in inverted brackets, the skill of deck building.
To be fair, I think the mulligan did that as well. Being able to mulligan so you can be greedier.
The mulligan is such a weird one, because the mulligan in itself is a blessing.
It's a blessing, but for me it's always a curse, because even though I always have a terrible opening hand, the second one's worse somehow.
Yeah, because I also have that problem. It's like...
It's a curse, goddammit.
Yeah, it's like when I've been playing things at locals recently, like, if I'll choose to keep a poor opening hand just because I have a rookie in it, because I know for a fact if I mulligan it, I'm not seeing a rookie, because it's just how it works.
Well, I had, when was it, Birmingham, my opening hand for my first round was like level 5, level 6, level 6, level 7. I was like, yeah, I got to mulligan this, I can't play anything. Mulliganed it out, and I went level 6, level 6, level 6, level 7, level 7.
Nice.
I was like, how'd it get worse? And I was going first. It's like, oh my god.
Ooh.
That is, I suppose, RBO1 in a nutshell. There are obviously some cards that people want in foil, which makes sense, pretty out the decks. But otherwise, for now, until we get the LB set, which comes in our BT15, which is going to be a very packed set, it doesn't really do much for another 6 months. Cool idea, though. Although I kind of wish it was like a weird DNA deck still. For Gammon. Stick it in your sources, and then you can digivolve. It's like, oh, okay. If you say so. So,
okay.
ST15, ST16, and BT14. Are they going to change things?
The War Greymon deck, no.
So, interesting fact about the War Greymon deck. Makes Machine better. It
does.
It's weird. We're going to give you a Greymon deck. It's going to make Machine much better.
Yeah, well, it's like... the deck, it gives a nice little bit of support for a bunch of different black decks, but it doesn't at all give War Greymon anything.
No,
which is really bizarre. Because like I've already started prepping because I want to make big black blockers good again, and that starter deck is absolutely bonkers for it.
There's 1, 2, I think 3 blockers in this, and I think quite a few of them give you blockers like inheritors as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's especially with the new tie is incredible. Just whenever you're changing a target and attack, just suspend it and give the thing 2k. It's just good.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you look at like because they've actually put the cards now on the website, they're saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, cards to make this deck even better." You know, got the Black Gladiamon that gives you reboot and jamming. You've got the Gurumon from BT13 that has blocker, and then once per turn, when one of your opponents Digimon suspends, trash the top card as security, which is a good card. Can't search it though,
Yeah.
it's a good card. And then the new
Yeah.
Crannymon, which is the on play when Digivolving and blocker and end of opponent's turn, punch one of your opponent's Digimon in the face. Because you can.
Yeah, because like I say, it's like because like I've been testing it with Craniumon, with a mixture of the old and the new Craniumons on the top end.
I'm still super surprised we never got Crannymon X, to be fair.
We'll get it eventually.
We'll get it eventually. I just thought this was the set we're going to find it in finally. Be like, oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, the tie, because I run the I think it's the X2, I think it is Cyberdramon. So it's just like the tie with that in its sources just gives Digimon 4K.
And then just for those who are listening who don't know what's going on currently, so ST15 is the next Greymon deck. Yeah, we know, don't worry. It's the black variant. Yeah, we know, don't worry. But you get a new tie in here, and it's a memory setter, but also all turns when a target is switched by suspending this Tamer, draw one, and then one of your opponent's Digimon, one of your Digimon gets 2000 DP for the turn. So because it synergizes well with the old tile that gives blocker and DP to one of your Greys or Agumons, I believe.
I
think it's Agumon or Greymon name.
Yeah, I think
it doesn't target Omnimon, which is really annoying for a lot of people. But
yeah,
essentially all your cards in here that aren't called Agumon have blocker now. So Metal Greymon has blocker, Greymon has blocker. You're going to give blocker with the other one. You're going to gain more DP because you're going to switch targets. You do have access to the Ace mechanic as well, which it's a very interesting card.
The Aces, I need to see them in play before I can make my judgment on them.
So interesting enough, I made a counter deck to Shine with the new War Greymon Ace card. Because if you pair it with Metal Greymon X Antibody BT11, the turn you ace up, you can't be affected by DP reduction still.
Yeah, that's true.
So they try and like do that to you. You're already bigger than they are. So either they try and slam into you because you're already suspended, you ace up, they then die, you don't get DP reduction, and they go like, what happened? It's like, you played into my trap. And I never see it coming.
Yeah, I mean, it does work. I'll give that. But yeah, it's like obviously the Guru deck obviously will start as soon as EX5 comes. And
the Gurumon deck, everyone was really like, this is like interesting because it does a lot of good purple things already, which is obviously very good for purple. But a lot of people were very much like, I'm not too sure how to play it. It seems very inefficient. And to be fair, it is a game of like, how quick can I mill myself out while throwing all my cards in the trash?
I'm still undecided on whether I like it. Just because I say it's very much. You still run like, or you can nitpick bits out of it and stick it in the old blue version.
To be fair though, it's got the modern issue where like it solves a lot of the whole like naming convention problem, so it does just jump on names.
Yeah,
just Digivolve from Gabumon, just Digivolve from Gurumon, which is obviously very good, which does help.
Yeah, it's. I appreciate the fact they're doing that with a lot more cards now, especially more generic cards, like I said, like your Agus, your Garurus. Like anything that sort of remotely fits the deck profile, they'll start adding sort of special Digivolution card rules for them.
Which brings the next question: when are we going to get Black Mirage Galgamon?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know, BT24. They will throw a ballpark. There you go.
It's been so long. It's like we've had the other line that gave jamming and I think increased DP on your opponent's turn, but you know, where's the rest of my stuff?
Yeah, there's no way in hell of knowing when that's coming.
But yeah, I think Greymon has a good place. I think Gabumon is the better of the two decks.
Yeah, I think so. Like for those of you attending the sort of the pre-releases for them. Pick Guru if you want to play well, I think.
And then every 2 decks you buy, you get a pack of pre-release cards. And then when you enter, you get a pack of pre-release cards. And then if you win, actually, I'm not sure. What do you get if you win? I can't remember. They're not announced that yet.
Actually, don't know.
Actually, I don't think they've announced that yet, so it could be interesting to see what you do get. They've just announced, obviously, that the cards that are common and uncommon are going to be foils, which is like they do with the Beelzebub deck. So going forwards, they are going to have like the mini tournament style thing, which I like the idea of for Beelzebub. I think it was a really good idea.
Yeah, it's nice to have like a local level alternative format that just appears every now and again. That's just around for a little bit, just to add a bit of flavour to stuff. Which is
so
nice.
If we only get decks every 6 months, which is fair enough to me, then you can have like a little month of like, hey, look, there's not really coming out for a few months. There's no tournaments currently going on competitively. Let's have a bit of fun.
Yeah. But the other thing I do like as well, as long as Bandai keeps their word on it, because I know they've mistranslated the Weirguru, I think it is.
They made it better. They made it so much better.
Yeah, I've not actually seen the correction, is the thing. I haven't actually seen what the correction is yet.
So I think I can find the card list. If I can find the card list, I'll tell you. So the correct wording on the inherited effect should be when attacking once per turn by trashing 1 card from your hand, delete one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon. The translation for it was the actual effect when attacking once per turn by trashing 1 card in your hand, unsuspend this Digimon.
Oh, yeah, that's just better.
It's much better. Oh,
that's
shit,
so much better.
I can do this? I'm pretty sure also the purple whatever. The purple Weirguru on X also does the same thing where it unsuspends if you trash a card. So just being able to go like, yep, keep going. Yep, I'm only at level 5 and I've already hit you 5 times. Keep going, don't worry.
Yep, just keep punching. Just keep punching.
Do you remember when the old deck was really powerful because you had the promo that let me hit it many times? Well, now because of the new miswording, I can do it again.
Yeah, it's like
no, don't worry. Just keep going.
They've basically just gone right. Okay, cool. Here's that sec +1 on the bottom of this card. That's the problem. Be gone. We'll replace it with something that's not sec +1 and give you it again, but purple.
I love the whole idea. Like they looked at it and went like, you know what? This card's trash. We need to make it better. The translation team knew what they were doing. We want you to punch again. Keep punching.
But yeah, so I am very lucky to say, ever since BT9 came out, Melville was my baby until the thermonuclear warheaded Weirguru into the stratosphere. I think I've still got it built actually somewhere. I never ended up taking it apart in the end because I was like, then maybe they'll unban it. They're never going to unban it. Maybe they'll unban it.
That's it. I think maybe in the future certain cards could be getting banned. Like Weirguru and Promo probably could be like along the road somewhere down because like it's probably like something just as powerful or more powerful. That's more common. Same with Itmon. I think like a lot of people go like, oh, you mill too quickly, but you still have to find them, and if you find them on the trigger, then it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
but it's also your biggest searcher for the deck, so not having another searcher to replace it is like the big issue for Beelzebub.
Yeah, it was when they announced the change for Itmon, I was like, I get it, I entirely understand it because it was like when your opponent turn 2 is like mill 20 cards because they've thrown 2 of them in the bin. Yeah, that's a big problem. But at the same time, if they don't have the pieces in hand, if they haven't got the pieces in hand ready to go for it, the deck just kind of goes, okay, cool, it's in the trash. What am I doing with it? I can count it, I guess, and do some Darkness Wave. Not Darkness Wave. What's the card called?
Call for Darkness?
Yeah.
I'll pop this thing. I'll get 2 cards back.
Yeah. Or popping stuff with Death the Cannon and things like that. It obviously turboed the access to that, which is nice. But then it kind of went, okay, cool. I'm missing my Wizardmon or my Witchmon. I can't go find it though. I can't draw. Problem.
Can't do any searching. Can't draw any more cards. Can't really do anything. Can't discard a card to gain a card. My one-off searcher for this deck because they didn't think, wait a minute, let's put another searcher in the deck first before we ban this card.
Yep. And also, depending on what point they came from the game, it would often deck people out.
Oh yeah, like there's the amount of times that you go like, I can't find it anywhere, and then like you'd hit like 25 cards in, and all of a sudden it's like I've got 2 cards left.
Yeah.
And I can't win next turn.
I think that's how I won most of my games against Bielsa. I just waited for it to deck itself out.
Once
was
we
like,
had
yeah, you
the
can-
new list come out, I did end up decking myself because I tried to do the old variant, which was the old baby. Where it's like, oh yeah, mill. Was it with the Impmon and then the baby, you'd mill 5.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh cool, and then all of a sudden, because you've got like the one stack built up, it's like, I'm milling 10 every turn. Oh god, no. This is going too fast. I can't do enough damage.
But yeah, so BT14, I am excited for. That I am very excited for.
I am, but probably not for the right reasons.
Oh, go on, indulge me.
So I'm looking forward to BT14 because of the fish deck. Now, I have no interest in the fish deck, but the amount of support that deck has got, it needs to be at least tier 1.5. Because it's got the most support in the sets besides Etamon at this point. Because I feel like Etamon's had like support for the last like 5 sets.
Oh, I'm already theory crafting. Well, not to say theory crafting. I'm already prepping deck lists for BT14 and the X5 for.
I've already made the joke that essentially the favorite Digimon of the new producer has got to be Etamon because the amount of support he's had, and that's like 5 sets.
Absolutely. But it's like I sort of started because the other thing that I also clocked just this afternoon actually that I found was really funny is obviously all the King Etters, the Metal Etters, they all have on plays.
Yeah.
And
they can
which
all
also
means,
well.
Sorry. They can also come from the trash as well.
They can also come from the trash. The other nice thing about it as well is because they include black, you can also use it with a Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that sounds really stupid, but really funny.
Yeah, to be fair. So I'm quickly having a look through BT14 now just to refresh my memory what's in here. I'm looking forward to more D-Brigade / Digipolice support. Because it's a very fun deck, but I don't think it's ever going to do much, to be fair.
I'm curious.
It's not doing very well in Japan, which means I feel like it's not going to do very well over here.
Because I take everything that comes out of Japan with a pinch of salt.
I do too. But it's more the fact, like, if you see it's doing really badly over there, there's probably a reason for why it's doing so badly, especially if it's getting played.
Yeah, that's fair.
Lumen, on the other hand, just says, no, I'm winning things. And you go, okay.
Yeah. I like that they're adding more unique sort of game interactions, things like that. Well, things like Luga, like where they're like, oh yeah, you've got to end your turn now by giving your opponent at least 3 memory, which is fine because half the time people
has to go over 3.
Yeah, it was 3 or more, so it's as soon as you hit 3, you're good.
But so it's like 5 memory. Let's go.
Yeah. So like it adds like a weird interaction thing because it gives you effectively 13 memory gauge, effectively.
You know, the normal amount of memory, 13.
Yeah, it's fine. I think the fact that it spits out as much as it does and is as aggressive as it is, I haven't seen it being played yet because I haven't actually watched any gameplay for it yet.
Like I said at the time, it seems really strange that the deck is as aggressive as it is, and it's not a red deck. And then in BT15, we got the purple-red cards. It's like, okay, that makes sense.
So I'm curious to see how it does because I expect it to do very well because the deck's just from just reading the cards.
Different styles of deck play, which is good. So obviously it has access to the Black Gatomon. That's a dark animal that has rush.
Yes,
they can spit those out. You can swing with those, and if it doesn't die, you can then alliance one of those.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, everything's dead.
Yeah, because like it does allow you to, if you want to be really spicy, you can throw in, I think it's BT9 stuff or BT10 stuff, the dark animal trait stuff from there. You can spice it with that. Yeah. So if you want to play something cheeky, you can do that. The other
currently there's only 2 dark animals, and one of them you don't want to play anyway for level 3s. You don't want to play the other one anyway because it's not very good. It doesn't really do anything for the deck. But as of BT15, we get access to another dark animal rookie, and it's like, oh great, we have things to play with.
Yes, it's nice that they're also
BT15.
It's nice they're also giving sort of generic side support in this set as well, because like the Ogremon stuff in this set and the Goblimon are really good, just generic purple cards.
Yeah. Obviously, it sort of goes around the whole situation with what's happening with like purple Guru as well.
Yeah, because they'll get thrown in slug
So I
through
don't think you ever use them in that, but I think you might use them maybe Bellstar.
Beelstar will use it. You'll also use it in what's the name of the deck? It's forgotten. It's in Belfamon. It'll go in Belfamon all day long.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Have it as like
just
your one line in the breeding area, move it out and go like, I gain free memory this turn from just
Yeah.
throwing a card into the trash.
Yep. It's like, oh no, I trashed a card. Shame, I'm going to draw the card back and gain memory.
It's like, oh no, I'm going to put this rage in here and this other rage in here, and there seems to become some sleepy boy in my hand. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to digivolve into a level 5 now. Oh no.
But I also, as much as everyone is hating on the Wargreymon, the secret rare, I both see why people are annoyed about it, but I also see the chance for Wargrey to actually do well again.
So the funny thing with this is, I agree that I'm in the middle camp where like it has a lot of keywords and they're all good keywords, but it still doesn't do enough to be a good deck.
Yeah,
And that's its biggest problem.
Because as you mentioned, our third member of the trifecta, JJ, I know for a fact he's going to be building he's building Wargrave, but he's building it with Bond. Because it's been I think that was his first main deck that he ever played, so he's always had a bit of a soft spot for it.
I couldn't think of a worse deck to play as your level 7. When you've got all the good level 7s because you're red.
You do, but also I can see the sort of value behind it just because of I forgot the name of the card. I forgot which card it is. There's something in the deck that lets you just free play out your Agu and give it rush. I forgot.
Is it Dragon Courage? Maybe placing one Greymon and one. No, that's the one where you get to go up into War Greymon for.
That's the Warper, yeah. But there is one card that does it anyway.
I know if you find the black Greymon in security, it lets you play a Tamer or a Agamon for free.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways that can be built. Obviously, the best way is just to build the mostly pure red, just punchy face deck. But
yeah, I think that's the way to go when it comes to Greymon. You can obviously go the other build still. It's just not as effective as it was. There's a lot more cards to just punch over and go like, no.
But I say I'm looking forward to this set. It is just there's loads of just good bits.
Yeah, they're just a good thing. I mean, for instance, for a lot of blue decks, Bookemon, or your opponent has no Digimon with equal or more Digimon cards, gain jamming.
Yeah, it's good.
Which is just very good for any blue deck, and especially because it fits into the C deck that goes, my stack is infinite. I'm always having jamming. But the new Seeker Tamers, I think, are very good. I like the idea that you can use them as generic inserts to increase or decrease stats.
Yes, they are. It's a very weird effect, but also I like it.
It's very unique, and I think it works quite well. Because especially with the BT15 stuff with Marvin, that goes like, you know that machine's one over there, I can make it better.
Because the fact that it's so versatile and the fact that it can just spit itself in and out, which is nice.
Yeah. Then you can choose as well. So if you need to have the source there to the end of your opponent's turn, at the end of their turn, you can go, wait a second, drop to the field.
Yeah.
Now I get my start of main effect, and then I get to insert again.
Yep, which is really nice. It's very fluid in its like usability, which is nice.
It does feel good. Like they've thought about it and how it should work, and the idea of like a Tamer synergizing with its Digimon.
Yeah. Because I haven't watched this Digimon series.
That's because it's a novella. You got to read about it. It's weird because they went like it's going to be a manga, it's going to be an anime, it's going to be a live action, and I think they did the live action advert for it, and I think that's the only thing they've done besides the novels.
Nice. Well, I'm not reading it. That's because we, as card game players, know all too well. We don't read.
We can't read. We are the meme. They'd be very upset if they could read. I know, right? Also, the fact that the first like 6 or 7 translated chapters are like auto translated by Chat GPT, so they all don't like they have like awful grammar.
Lovely.
It's like the thing we said earlier about the whole like translations don't synergize like one for one. Like yeah, you can definitely see in the first few chapters like the sentences just like don't make any sense. Yeah, I think that is it for BT15. I think it's in a good place. Then how do we feel about the health of the card game currently? Moving forwards to the EU finals.
I say again, I need to see how BT14 goes. It's a bit of a shame that it's timed. It's awkward time because I think the last event that at least in the UK anyway.
The last event for the season besides finals is Liverpool.
Yeah, which isn't a BT14 legal format.
So for those who are listening to this who don't know, because I think the majority of my clientele are like American, BT14 comes out on the 17th of November if it isn't delayed. OPE has decided to make it so that BT14 isn't a playable set for the main event on the 18th, because obviously trying to get cards within a week is awkward at the best of times. But BT14 will be legal for the side events on the Sunday.
Yes, I don't know what the side events are because I think they're
still thinking about what the side events should be. I think it'd be quite interesting to see if they just go side. It will just do like a regional format where you can bring BT14 cards, and that's when you'll get your first glance and go like, "Oh damn, this is really interesting."
They may very well do. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to have to look into this before, obviously, the day.
And that's the day they want me to cast, right? So we can look at new cards and go, look at this, look at that, look at those.
Shiny cardboard!
So shiny.
But I guess obviously I'm going to look into it anyway, because either of the 2 ways, because I want to apply to be one of the judge team for Eurofans this year. Please, Jock Mock, let me judge, please.
Been a good boy this year. Please let me judge some more.
I've done a lot of judging. I'm good, I promise. But either if it's one of those, like, if I'm not a member, if they don't pick me for staff, I will go anyway, and I will go and play. So either way, I'm going to have to learn everything anyway.
I mean, that's how I'm feeling. Like, I'd love to go and do be a caster for EU finals. It'd be nice to be able to say, like, hey, I've done a bit of everything this year. I worked with essentially all the different companies that work with Bandai, and then maybe put my name in for Worlds. That won't happen. But it'd be nice, obviously, to be able to like go out the other bang as a caster. But obviously, if I can't, I'll play.
Yeah. But it's then a case for me of picking what on earth do I play that format, because there's so many different decks that I could play.
You'll play Smelly Vaccine.
Well, the thing is, I'm going to build Vaccine of at least some capacity. I just don't know what version of Vaccine I'm going to build yet. Because there's like 3 different versions you can build.
Yeah, you've got like the hybrid version, you've got like the Patamon Greymon version. I've seen like just the Angel Vaccine version.
Yep, and then you've also got Vaccine Control, Cough.
Yeah. And you've got the weird Kazuchi version, which apparently works really well, but you have to get very lucky with like the way it builds out.
Yeah, it's a very high roll deck, that one.
It's very high roll. Yeah, you got to hope for the best, but then if you do get it all correct, it just slaps everyone around.
It just goes, surprise, bonk.
It's like, oh, I wasn't doing very well. Stab. Oh, now I'm doing better.
Or I could just be an absolute meme lord and just take Sukamon.
To be fair, at this point, he's got a lot of good support and it works.
The Chumon, the Etamon, and the Suka's Curse are insane.
Do you like the poop? I like the poop.
I played. Because I'm going to take it to my locals on Monday, because my locals doesn't know how that deck works, so it's going to be fun to just see their brains melt out of their ears. Like, what do you mean I can't Digivolve onto this white Digimon with my red Digimon?
Now you're a poop. Now you're a poop.
No, you're a poop now. So, well, that'll be interesting, I say. Because the Etamon is just bonkers for that deck.
Yeah, he's good. It's very good. It's just surprisingly good.
Just, I died, go in security. I come out of security, play big boy.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Sukamon is nice, just spit stuff out of security. The Chumon just sticks stuff in security. So, You just
So yeah,
start
getting
going, oh
king
no.
or metal on the field for like laws, I guess, is just like, yeah, throw it down.
Yeah, you just go, oh, my opening hand of an Etamon, a Chumon, and a Metaletta. Okay, cool. All I do is I stick Chum on the board, stick the Etamon in security, and just farm to some Sukamons in the trash as soon as humanly possible.
Then essentially, its on deletion effect is the same as its inheritable. On deletion effect is like, just put this card at the bottom of security and then wait to do it again.
Yeah.
You can never get rid of the monkey.
You can never get rid of because I want to make it full foil just to go. I have the shiny poop, but I don't know. Actually, are these uncommons? Oh, they're commons. No.
Yeah. Commons and uncommons, I believe.
The Chumon is a
rare.
common. The Etamons are rare. So the Etamon will be foil. The Sukamon you can get as a foil because you'll be able to get a previous copy.
I can't remember if the poop is a rare if it's an uncommon. It's an uncommon, so you can get that as previous foil as well.
Yeah, you get that as previous foil, but the Chumon is a common, so you're not getting that as a foil, which is really sad.
I feel like the Chumon is already an Altar in Japan. I don't know why.
Who knows at this point?
I'm sure we'll get one eventually.
We'll get it in like BT20 or something.
Also, I think one of the funniest things that we got from BT14, like oddly enough, is that we finally got the level 3 for Dokugumon.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you did have a level 3. It's a baby spider.
Baby Spooder.
Baby spider. But to unplay by suspending one of your Digimon, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Wait a minute. We know this card.
Yeah, it smells like a. It smells like a plant-based boy.
Yeah. Smells like some kind of fruit from EX3. A bit dragony. No, I think that BT14 is still a healthy set. From what I've seen from Japan, nothing was like crippling the meta over there. There's obviously a lot of variety now. Vaccine deck, new red line of Wargrain one that seems to do very well for itself. More plant support for the Mimi side of things. And then obviously in BT15 we do see the X antibodies of Toga and Pal. Which is, I was not expecting that, to be fair.
No.
As we've seen, like Chumon support, Etamon support, Nunamon support. You know, I think a lot of people weren't expecting to see more of this currently, just obviously because of, you know, the amount we've had recently. I feel like every single set since BT11 has been Etamon support to some degree. Be good or bad.
Yeah, because I've had some BT12, I've had some BT13. I think there was something in EX4 as well.
There was, yeah. So it's like every single set from from BT11 to BT15 will have Etamon support in. Just like the fish deck, this deck should be top tier. But then we get like the opposite effect of D-Brigade with Digipolice, where instead of like milling your hand to refill it, it's bringing things back into the deck, just so you can do like more crazy things. Having the effect of like High Commandramon being classed as a Commandramon makes it a very cheeky boy, where it lets you play it for free in certain aspects of the deck.
Yeah, there's a lot of it fits the profile for Pride members. It fits the profile for the BT3. I think it's the one that when it dies. Look at the top 3.
BT4, I think.
It's BT4.
The rare one, yeah. Oh no! I found this level 4 Commandramon. Oh no!
Oh no!
Anyway,
what a shame. Moving on. So there's a lot of good value in that deck. Whether it will do well is another question. But
that is the question. Will it do well or do anything? Is the question.
Yes.
We did also see a new Megadramon in this set. Not as good as the next Megadramon, but obviously having more access to the red variant for Machine Dramon is always nice. I do think the issue for Machine Dramon red variant is we still need a red Machine Dramon.
Yes.
Which, if we're lucky, fingers crossed, maybe Marvin's will be in the future. So maybe in BT 15 or 17 we'll get a Mega line that has a red-black Machine Dramon.
Possibly. It does definitely need it, for sure.
I'm just quickly going through cards. Tyrannomon being cool, but unfortunately Tyrannomon's still a terrible deck.
Yeah, I want it to do well, but it's never going to, unfortunately.
No. So here's the... I complained about this when it first came out. They did the weekly episode for the Digimon card game that Japan releases, and they had... I can't remember what the other deck was, but it was Machine Dramon versus something else. Sorry, Rust versus some other deck. and the Rush player just didn't get to play.
Yeah.
So you had like a 12-minute video of basically one opponent playing the game, one opponent not being able to do anything. It's like, that's not how you advertise your card games. You just told me that this deck's terrible. Don't build it. Also, the Skull Greymon from this set is also very interesting, which I think is what you were talking about earlier, which is the on deletion, you may play one Agumon from your trash without paying the cost. If you have a Tamer with Tie in its name, that Digimon gains Rush for the turn.
That's the one I was thinking of. There he is.
Yeah, so as like a one-off tech, I think it's a very unique choice, especially because it can just Digivolve from a Greymon name.
Yeah. It's like the old EX1 one that just gives. It's basically just any deck that ran the EX1 Skull Grey as a one-off tech to go retaliate, bonk.
Yeah.
It just replaces that. So.
Because it has Greymon in name, you can give it to blocker.
Yep. And I say, if you haven't already bonked it anyway, it's on effect to clear it off the board. So,
and then for those who are wondering, yes, the brand new Security War Greymon can Digivolve on top of the purple one because it just requests a Digivolve for 4 from a level 5 with Greymon in name.
Yes.
Which I think a lot of people will be like, oh, I can do that. I think the biggest issue we're going to go back to the War Greymon deck now is like the X-Antibody War Greymon is just awful.
Okay, because this is the one that gains memory when you bonk Security, isn't it?
Yeah, when you remove Security, you gain the memory, but it used to be worded where the second you essentially remove the Security, which was do damage to it, you'd gain the memory. But I think it got ruled of like a couple of weeks into our format for it that you had to survive the check, and then got the memory for it. And I was like, this is terrible. This card went from being, it's okay, to being like, this is trash. Why never play this card?
No, it definitely unless it's been changed wording, it should get you memory before the.
That's what I always thought, because I think it was ruled originally that's how it worked, and I think the judges were like pestering old card ass. Is this how it works? This is not normally how security things work, and it's like, you know, we're fed up answering your questions. It works the way you want it to work. You don't get memory till you survive.
It's like, I know it's similar to the Takuya Gambara Inherit, where it's like if a card's checked and security gain 2. Because I know that has to see if it's a security card. Yeah, because if it's a security card, the security card goes off first. I think, though, in this case, I think it's the same way, or it's very similar, at anyway. But also, it's procs off anything, which is nice.
Yeah.
So if you, I don't know, someone might just splash Gallimon in it and start tracking security or something. I don't know, out of nowhere.
If only, right? Or Gallimon. One day. Well, that would be good. Another deck that has so much support and just doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
We know everyone likes Gallimon.
It's a labour of love. It's labour of love for you.
It is labour of love. It's like, I love this deck so much. How good is it? Look, I love this deck so much, alright? Ask questions. Every time I play someone who plays Gallimon, I always feel bad that I know I'm going to win. It's like, oh, what are you playing? Gallimon? Buddy, I've got some bad news for you. Or Gallimon. I suppose we should go on to the last round of questions before we take this any further. Is there anything you'd like to add, Mr. Judge James?
I don't think so, honestly. I think beyond what we've already made aware of, Bandai, please make yourself aware that, well, not interested, make yourself aware. Just please come to Europe. Please give us more things. We like things.
They've done a good job this year. Like, you look at what happened like last year and the year before compared to like competitive, and this year it's like, you've actually given us tournaments, and you've actually given us quite a few per month as well, which is really nice.
It's actually better than it was. But there's always, as with anything in the world, there's always room for improvement. Because I know America's got an absolute boatload of events this year.
If you looked at the chart, we had, I think, like the second amount, which I think we had like 8 or something for like this section of the year, and then I think America had like 12. Which, to be fair, like it's a big continent. It does need a lot of tournaments, so I'm totally okay with that. But then you look at
Yeah,
like South America and they get like 5. Then you look at like um, OCE and they get like 4, and it's like I think they need more tournaments too.
yeah. I do feel a bit bad for members of those sort of regions because I say, like, especially with them being as because obviously I know obviously Europe's fairly compact and a lot of the events happen online, so
Not as
it is
bad, yeah.
easier. But like, I think there does need to be more.
I think
Just
the one
for
thing I do like though is that they announced obviously years ago now that if you want to compete in regionals, you have to be from the region.
yes,
Which
that
for
is
online is
good.
obviously a bit different because obviously you don't have to lose the cost of traveling and like hotel rooms and like that's way like you have to invest into the card game.
Yeah,
But obviously like other card games like you see a lot of like content creators like yeah I'll travel around the world for content and I'll play in these events and it's like these are made for people that live like here where their meta's a bit different because obviously they can't really afford certain decks and stuff.
mm. But yeah, it's like I know, especially looking at the sort of popularity of One Piece as well.
Very popular.
Them them keeping that mentality for that game as well. Because I know, like I've been sort of I've not been a part of any One Piece teams. I haven't done my One Piece test yet, but bloody do.
You've been keeping your eye on
But
it, yeah.
like, oh well, yeah, well, it's my next step.
Oh,
Is I'll start branching and sort of mixing with different card games, and then I'll be the ultimate judge. I don't know, something like
I think the other ultimate judges you work with might say a thing or two.
I mean, yeah, probably, but that's fine. Don't worry about it. He'll understand, right? But yeah, the fact that they are region locking stuff is good because it just
Yeah.
allows. It means everyone gets a chance to play
Yeah.
rather than like I know I've seen with Yu-Gi-Oh events in the past where the Americans have gotten like 80% of the European slots for events. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, like
But this week I always like find really funny when the Americans go like, "Oh, Europe only had like 2 people playing the World Finals." It's like that's because you people bought the tickets because they went up like 3 in the morning, so no one in Europe could buy them,
yeah.
and you took like 80% of the spots. So top 32 was like 30 Americans. It's kind of like I feel bad like for like OCE and stuff and like South America when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh because the people who can afford to go are generally not necessarily better players, but generally have a better standing than the people who sort of live in the area. Especially for like
Yeah.
Brazil. I just don't know if you know a lot of the cards stuff in Brazil is like really weirdly done. It's treated almost like contraband.
Oh.
Yeah, so like trying to get cards into the country is just ridiculous. And like staples, like for instance, you think like was it Cash Tier was like £1,000 deck kind of thing? Well, in like
Right.
Brazil and like Chile and Mexico, it was like a £5,000 deck because you just can't get access to the cards.
Jesus.
It's like, oh, you want this one card? Well, you travel like an hour into America, it'll cost you like $100. Here, because obviously the taxes and levies and like suspiciousness of trying to get into the country, you're looking like £500-600 for one card.
I feel sorry for them, but I do not envy them in the slightest.
No, and then you think of like Australia, where like you have like a small player base because Australia, not a lot of people live there. And then you hit, like you said, like, oh yeah, if you think Europe was bad, like Australia's like 90% Americans.
Yeah.
So they have their mentality. They used to do like what they call like the Midwest winners, which is like the little regionals they had in like the Midwest and stuff. Like it'd only be like local players would go to them. So you'd hear like about like these 10-year-old decks that are still winning tournaments. But obviously now people realize that you can win them by taking like a half competent deck. A lot of like the content creators will go down there and go like, yeah, man, like 13 of us turned up. We turned up with the best decks in the format, and this guy playing like Light Swarm from 10 years ago just somehow thought he could beat me. Oh, he couldn't, because it's Light Swarm from 10 years ago. But yeah, I as much as I complain that Europe seems to be like the silent child that doesn't get any love from Bandai, I'd hate to be South America or like Australia.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't cope with the weather, so that's always a start
That too.
anyway.
It just seems to be like the difference in like we don't get a lot of love over here, or it seems like we don't get a lot of love in Europe, but I feel like they're non-existent in comparison. except when it comes to tournament results, they all seem to be like the first ones that go like, "Oh look, Latin America, these are the decks they played." It's like, how'd this win?
I love watching Latin America. Like Latin America, no Shanna stuff. It's like where they're like, "Oh yeah, surprise!" This Ultimate Cup where most of the time it's sort of weird fringe decks. Oh no, surprise! This time around it was like, yeah, all 4 top spots were Mirage.
Mirage. It's like normally we'll play like these weird things that no one ever think of because Latin America. But this time we all went, you know what? Everyone needs to play Mirage Gargamon, so Mirage Gargamon can win. All right.
We can, yeah, but
yeah. Was it Latin America? Was it America where they had the Marcus incident?
that was. I think that was LA. I think.
Oh. Sometimes it's your own people. How'd they get through?
Yeah.
What do you mean I was cheating?
Yeah, I heard about that, and I was like, okay, cool. So I need to keep. It was like I think it was like a weekend before one of the raid and trade stuff I was doing, and I was like, okay, cool. So we really need to pay attention to deck lists this set.
Yeah, I feel like it was Gen Con or something like that, and he was just like, yeah, we're playing like the Ultimate Cut format, so you have to like keep to the rules. And then yeah, someone got like round 5 or 6 and got deck checked. It's like, wait a minute, you don't even have one of these now.
Hold up.
But then you look at the deck list, it's like, no, this says in the deck list you had 4 of them. What the fuck? How did we not notice this before? Anyway, you disqualified. Don't come back. How dare you win the tournament by cheating? This mysterious 5th bat just turned up from nowhere, I tell you. I always like the fact that when people cheat, it always seems with the Tamers as well.
Yeah, the most obvious picks in the.
I need more consistency. How can I win by cheating? More Tamers that they will notice straight away.
It just has 5 marks on the board. I see no problem here.
Why do you have 6 tying curries and like 5 of the like TKs and curries? It's like I need more consistency.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I need more consistency. Don't worry about it. Right. I think this will wrap it up, as this has been quite a long first episode.
It has. It does.
And I'll let you get some sleep. I'm sure you got work tomorrow, knowing you.
No.
No? Still resting?
It's a Sunday. I'm work.
Sorry, that'd be JJ. JJ is always up at like 4 in the morning on a Sunday.
Yeah, I don't envy him. That's fine. He can have his 4 AM start. I do not envy him the slightest.
Maybe we'll drag JJ on next time, see if they'll record with us.
I mean, maybe.
Right. Thank you for being here, Tamers. Have a great time. We're going to go have a sleep as it's nearly 11 o'clock at night for us. And hopefully see you guys soon. And if not, you'll hear from us in a judge call near you. Peace out and goodbye.